Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Sinkfield Cup 2022, the most dramatic soap opera of a chess tournament that we have ever had, ever, in the history of chess tournaments, probably ever. Maybe the closest one is 2006 World Championship match with Toilet Gate. Now, your Hans Niemann Magnus Carlsen drama update of the day is the fact that the St. Louis Chess Club finally put out a statement. You can pause and read it. And basically it says, in response to the recent rumors circulating the chess world, I can confirm, this is from Chris Bird, the international arbiter, that we currently have no indication that any player has played unfairly in the Sinkfield Cup. I don't know why they can't just say Hans Niemann. I guess like they can't really, they got to speak in all this like political corporate speak, but we respect this. Anyway, you can read this. And so a couple of things are at play here. If no indication of wrongdoing has been found, number one, if we are to assume that the fair play measures are to the maximum extreme, which I don't exactly know how they are. Like, there was this report that came out about various vibrating things that you could stick inside of yourself. If you don't know what I'm talking about, yeah, you gotta go check that out. That was a meme. But like, the arbiters can't check for that? You know what I mean? They can't check for certain things. So we are going to take them at their word, whatever the fair play measures are. It seems as though none of Hans's play in this event has been deemed suspicious whatsoever. But then that begs the question, what is Magnus going to say at this point? Like, what is the statement he's going to put out? Is he going to say overreacted? Is he going to say, no, here's my evidence? I don't think this drama or saga is over temporarily. We have some sort of official statement from the St. Louis Chess Club. Hans has still not responded to chess.com. Maybe he will, maybe he won't. But for now, let him finish the tournament. He has one more round to go. And then, we can, I can't imagine actually playing under these conditions. It seems kind of absurd to have the entire world literally going back 3 years of your over-the-board games and dissecting them, which is currently happening. People are making literal spreadsheets, analyzing all of his tournaments going back to 2019 and, right when the pandemic kind of came to an end and he got back to playing over-the-board chess. So it's a crazy time to be following the chess world right now. That's my wife. She's not in the recap today. Hi, wifey. She actually forgot how to speak today, too. Or I don't know, maybe she didn't. Did you forget how to speak? Okay, she nodded her head. She also said subscribe to GothamChess. It's her second favorite YouTube channel. Anyway, I'm going to take you through the games today, as always. 3 decisive games. I suppose that sort of spoils the result of this first one. Or maybe it doesn't. Maybe I put a decisive game first because I am tricking you. All right, Lenier Dominguez Perez versus Shahriar Mamedyarov. 2 players who, according to the St. Louis Chess Club, were not deemed to be playing unfairly because that statement was very open-ended. So this was a Spanish, Bishop e5, and Mamedyarov plays his favorite. He plays his absolute favorite variation of the Spanish, which is the open one. He does not play this,
Bishop e7, Rook e1, Castle, c3, d6, h3.
Doesn't play any of this nonsense. All right, he plays knight takes e4. All right, then he plays b5 and d5. This is called the open Spanish because it's a little bit more open. You have de5 here. And Mamedyarov doesn't play the ultra-aggressive bishop c5, but he plays the he doesn't play bishop c5 in this position. He plays bishop e7. And many, 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 many games of chess have been played in all of these positions because chess is extremely boring when you're over 2750, but such is life. And then here what black does, because just so you understand why black has to play the way they play in this game, let's say they just castle, right? If black were to castle, white would play knight b3, trade off knights, and suddenly black can't really move anything. It's really hard to move because you sort of pushed your pawns already, and your pawns generally you want to trade off your opponent's kind of advanced things here. So even a move like b4 just does nothing. You will play queen d3 and try to checkmate your opponent. Which is why Mamedyarov has to use the d-pawn. So he has to delay his castling and kind of try to open things up. And white actually allows the pawn to go to d3 and kind of choke the bishop a little bit. He's kind of into that. So the bishop goes back to b1. And there's not a lot of play here for white. White is going to try to spend the remainder of the game to win this pawn. Like, if white can successfully win this pawn, then black will just be deemed kind of a moron for pushing it 3 squares and just losing it, right? Mamedyarov is hardly that. He's definitely not that at all. So he will spend the game defending this pawn, and he will not be losing it for free because he's one of the best players in the world. unlike yours truly. So knight takes b3, and right there he is defending his pawn on d3. So very nice move from Mamedyarov, and Mamedyarov now and only now will go to castle. Now, here a couple of moves have been played, like bishop e3 and rook e1. And another move that has been played in this position, the third most popular move, is the move b4. I don't know if Linier prepared this before the game or whatever, or because yesterday in my video I said he played a novelty, and it turned out that he spent 48 minutes on it. Now, maybe he's a genius. Maybe he actually he actually knew the move beforehand, but he thought for 48 minutes just to throw Alireza off. Or he just invented that move over the board. But, you know, anytime a player plays a new move at the highest level, I just have to assume that they prepared it. And if not, well, then I'm lying to you. I'm really sorry. But, you know, influencers have lied far more heinously to their audience. So I suppose lying to you about a chess move is, you know, kind of the least of the troubles. So castles, h3. And you may wonder why Linier is not rushing to play knight e1. He's not rushing to play knight e1 because if he plays knight e1, he's going to lose this pawn. And conveniently, this will be protected. So h3. Queen d7. Black is going to get more defense on the pawn on d3. Here, Linier plays a very natural move, but it's actually a novelty. He plays the move rook e3, which attacks this pawn, and Mamedyarov plays the move h5. And I suppose Linier's idea here was some sort of knight e1, right? But then there's d2. It's like unbelievable. I mean, and if he spends a tempo playing bishop d2, trying to block everything, who knows? Maybe Mamedyarov's going to start firing haymakers with g5. This might be a little bit too much. Actually, in fact, I think it's way too much because there might be knight g5 and rook g3. Right, so I'm an idiot. I'm going to just let the players make the moves. But I think Mamedyarov, before, you know, Linier can sort of consolidate everything, will probably start striking back. And if White kind of spends 4 out of his 6 pieces on the board trying to win this pawn, the rest of his position is just going to not be very sustainable. So for that reason, Linier plays this, and Mamedyarov's like, bishop trade? No. Okay, we're going to repeat moves. Linier, if he plays bishop b1 here, it's a draw, so Linier does not do it. Now he goes, he does the same thing, and I mean, clearly Mamedyarov is completely fine with the draw, and Linier is not. Okay, Linier is going to try to play for a win, and right when Mamedyarov is about to lose his d3 pawn, here comes a5. A very well-timed move, very high understanding of the position, but if we count the pawns, White has 6 and Black has 5, and therefore White is up a pawn because 6 minus 5 is 1. So, rook d8. Mamedyarov is still going to try to be aggressive and pressuring the White position, not letting him consolidate with his extra pawn and win the game, right? And to be honest, I mean, here is like the highest evaluation of the entire game. Linier has made it all the way here. Remember how I told you? Maybe I lied to you. Maybe the first game of today's recap is not a draw, right? Well, Linier, show us the way, all right? He trades the rooks off, right? Knight goes out to d3. A perfect game of chess being played. Linier slowly making progress. Bishop back on d2. It's just a calm, consistent +1. All right, Linier, take us to the promised land. Here we go. Knight back to e6. All right, come on. All right, trades everything. Oh, wow. So we're going for a queen endgame. Okay, the king is getting active and aggressive. The king is going for a jog. Okay. How are we going to win this, Linier? Where is the win? We're looking for a trade. It's now +2. Nice. Looking nice. Excuse me, looking nice and consistent. Beautiful. We did everything. Linier, look at that. Gorgeous technique. Take with check. Now a beautiful technique here from Linier. Checking him again and then taking the pawn. Amazing technique here from Linier. Now he goes here and he's going to take on h5, right? No, he doesn't take on h5. I guess there was some sort of perpetual there. All right, Linier is looking. He is looking to try to win the game. He's giving a million. Okay, finally Linier has taken with the pawn. Now, I think the way the engine wanted him to play was to somehow win. Yeah, it wanted him to put the queen on e5 and then play king g3. So the machine was giving this, and then king g3 as a winning idea by White. I don't know what human being wouldn't take a pawn. So now Linier has to avoid perpetual check and deal with this passer. And he's trying his best, to his credit. He is very much trying his best not to get a draw here. The problem is, it's a draw. It's completely insane, but even though Linier is going to be up 3 pawns in a queen endgame, White's king is stuck in a box. And it's just unreal. Completely unbelievable. Monumental defense, I must say, from Mamedyarov. Just amazing defense. Just, I mean, like, honestly. Incredible defensive game. And he holds. Now, the next game I have for you, this game was like Derek Lewis versus Tai Tuivasa. For my UFC fans and for my non-UFC fans, this was like, let's say, US Open, you save match point in the fourth set, and then you go on to win in 5. Okay, this game was sick. Okay, it begins with an Italian, like a gioco pianissimo, that means nothing to you. It means nothing to me either, and it means nothing to Rustam Kasimdzhanov, who was doing live commentary. Rustam is one of the most accomplished chess players of all time. He might disagree with that phrasing. It doesn't really matter. By the way, yes, you saw that correctly. Black played a6 and then played a5. Like, if you did this, I would slap the crap out of you. I mean, what? Like, you haven't developed your light squared bishop. What is this? What do we want to move? We gonna want to give every single pawn 2 turns in the world, or what? But Wesley does this, so now we have to say, oh, it's a fascinating move by Wesley. So, yeah, Wesley basically just doesn't want Alireza to go b4, but I don't get it. But, you know, even Rustam Kasimdzhanov was like, I don't understand any of these move orders. But what I do understand is that in this position, the main line and the only move that's been played probably more than a significant number of times is the move bishop b5. But Alireza plays a novelty, and Wesley smashes open the center of the board. Now, listen, Wesley is a genius at certain types of play. The type of play that Wesley's really good at is kind of keeping the balance, flowing like water, and then when you attack him, he counterpunches you so hard, your ancestors feel it, okay? So knight h5 is played, and then Wesley's just like, yo, Alireza, like, are you good, my guy? So you win a pawn? Really? Bishop takes h3, bro. So here's the thing. If you go here, rook e5. If you take this, it's mate in 2. So you can't do that, right? So bishop takes h3 is a savage move. The white knight drops back to d3, and queen g6 played. Now, rook a d8 here was lights out. All right, so I told you this was like a heavyweight fight, right? Bishop takes h3 is white getting dropped to the canvas. Just dropped, faceplant, scrambling. Here comes black with the punches, right? Knight h4 is barely surviving. Queen g5 barely surviving. Knight takes bishop. Queen takes h4. And in this position, Wesley goes back for the knight. All right, now we're kind of back to center. So he misses the knockout punch. And now he's going to, you know, the hardest thing in chess is to be much better, screw it up, and then play that game. You are still playing the previous position. And what happens is, within about 3 moves, Wesley is dead lost. Wesley completely blunders bishop to a3. And the queen now has to get sent packing, and e6 just shatters black's position entirely because the queen has been left alone with the king. And let me tell you, have you ever seen a James Bond movie where he gets captured? They don't do pretty things to him, all right? That's what's about to happen to the king on g8. And yeah, e6 is just, it's just not good. It's just absolutely not good. Here comes Alireza Firouzja. He wins a pawn. He wins more material, and Wesley resigns because after rook e8, bishop a5, and the knight moving and the pawn being captured, he's going to be 3 pawns up. This is completely unbelievable. This game was just completely nuts. I mean, Wesley just got a completely winning position in 18 moves. I don't know what he blundered. I guess he didn't fully grasp how strong including the move rook ad8 was. Like, this is what he had to play, and white can't take on h3 here because knight f4 wins. It just hits this, and you threaten a mate, right? So, yeah, I just don't know. I'm completely aghast. I completely do not understand what was missed. Yeah, I just don't know. And I mean, this almost goes to show you, like, Wesley's playing style is not like, okay, I mean, he's one of the best players in the world. He has a very flexible playing style. But it's not like, you know, hunt to the death. Like, Wesley is honestly usually the guy in Alireza's shoes in this game. Not like getting brutally attacked and being dead lost in 18 moves, but like, you know, if he gets clipped, he's really good at stabilizing. And oh my God, I mean, that's how many wins is that for Alireza? He's won a handful of games. Very well done. Yeah, Wesley just went completely bananas. I think e5 really set him off. I think here Wesley had to like maybe even go back to g5, hoping for a queen trade, and then playing this position. But yeah, I mean, his queen got kind of locked out of the castle and then completely evicted. And crazy game. I mean, just unbelievable game. Next game I have for you, Levon Aronian versus Jan Nepomniachtchi. This was a sick game. So Levon plays e4, and Nepo plays the Petrov. Main line, knight e4, d4, d5, bishop d3, bishop d6, castles, castles, c4, c6, rook e1. All of this has been seen many times. And here, Nepo plays bishop f5. Now, White has two approaches here. White can move the queen to b3, which attacks the pawn on b7, and White can play the move queen c2, which doesn't actually do anything for now, but you want to develop like with knight c3. So if Black just plays a random passback move, then the move knight c3 is going to be extremely strong and going to pose some problems because you're not going to take this. You're going to grab the bishop, and White is just going to be very, very, very much in control of the game because the knight is trapped. White will, win a pawn at least. So yeah, that's no good. And here, the most popular move in the position is not the one that was played. I don't know what it is. It might be knight a6 to try to play knight to b4, and then play bishop g6. But Nepo just does it this way. He doesn't move the knight yet. Now we have this, and here, the only games in my database, White has played the move knight c3. Now, the other idea of putting the bishop back to g6 is a very sneaky idea, which you have to know if you know the stonewall setup with either color. Black plays the move f5 and just basically glues this knight. It's like, you're not going to get rid of my knight. You just won't. And now I'm going to defend the pawn on b7 tactically. I'm going to defend it with my rook so that if you take there, I have bishop takes h2 check. So White plays bishop c2. You got to look at the last few moves that White has made. Like queen c2, passive knight move, retreating bishop move, right? The knight goes back again. Okay, we have a little few pawn advancements, but bishop d2, like very slow game, very slow game. And Black has made it very clear that they have ideas to attack you over here, advanced pawn, strong knight, and he goes here, and suddenly the White position starts being very questionable, right? Rook a to d1, queen f6, and Jan removes White's knight from the board. Then he takes the pawn, then he takes the knight with the bishop, and he grabs himself a pawn. Now, all good attacks in chess have wild cards. Okay, attacks do not need to end in checkmate. I don't know who had to tell you this. Well, your attacks don't end in checkmate anyway, but attacks in chess don't have to end in checkmate. They can also end in a catastrophic loss of material for your opponent, or just a headache. Even if you cause your opponent to have a migraine spike, it's already kind of a win in chess. So that's sort of what happened here. I mean, Jan played really, really, really aggressively. I think Aronian just did a couple of slight inaccuracies in a row, and then ultimately, even by this point, it was already a bit too late. Like even bishop c2 and all this, knight f1 might have been a step in the wrong direction. Taking your eyes off of the knight on e4 might have just been a total misstep. Like knight f1 and just not anticipating how strong Black's attack was going to get, because now he wins a pawn on d4, and then he's gonna, his queen is here to stay. Like this is under attack, this is under attack. And Nepo is just 2 pawns up. And, Levon doesn't resign and he tries to fight back, but look at how solid Black's position is. Literally nothing is undefended. Nothing. Nothing in Black's position is undefended, and here comes Black, right? Rolling down the board, all right? Knight a6, c5. All right, just defending. I mean, he doesn't even need to do anything. Now, the incredible thing about this game is that I think here Jan had to play something slightly different. I think c5 already allowed White to kind of fight back, and the move g6 lost the advantage somehow. The engine was giving gf, bishop e4, fe4, and rook e4, and somehow White just doesn't feel the loss of the pawn. So I guess Jan underestimated White's counterplay ultimately, because I think somewhere here Jan had to just put his foot on the gas. d3, queen d4, not let up whatsoever. And there's of course a few really, really forcing variations like bishop d3, something like this. Black can give away the queen for the 2 rooks and try to play knight and everything. But I mean, the game is far from over. White still has significant amounts of counterplay. And sort of what happens in this game is, White just White never really gave up. I mean, look at White's position. You're fighting against the knight, the pawn, right? Now, both players begin a time trouble phase here, and despite Nepo being up 2 pawns, rook takes e4. Levon is fully back in the game. So f e4, rook e4, bishop e4, rook e4, and now bishop d2. And yeah, black is up 2 pawns, but is not better at all. Just not better at all. Why? Because white is going to go queen c4, queen d5, queen d7. From d5, you hit everything. You cannot move this knight whatsoever. So it's only white really who's using the bishop, and black's king is weaker. So despite having more material, black has significantly worse pieces, and very, very bad king. And yeah, that's it. So queen b1, right? Queen d5, rook h3, rook back to e6, trying to stabilize the position. And it seemed that around here, things started to go wrong in reverse again. So right around that time control, and Levon wins his pawn, black gets to safety, but now Nepo has consolidated, his king is safe, and it's him who's going to do the bullying now. Levon continues to try to bludgeon the position, but it's not black's king who's weak. It's just not. Like, yes, you have checks, but White's king is going to fall far faster, and that's ultimately what happens. Look at this zigzag trail. Boop, 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 like the boops of death, right? And that's it. Move 53, white resigns because there's just nothing. You're not going to be able to defend your king whatsoever. There is stuff like queen h7 check, but black very easily covers up here with knight g7, not to mention king f6, and maybe even running forward to f5. There's no checks at all after king f5. So heartbreaking. Very, very complicated game, and I guess it got away from Levon right at the time control. I think instead of him playing rook h3 and all this, I think after queen d5, if I am not mistaken, yeah, the move was rook b3. You had to go this way, focusing on the pawn. And if black had played rook e7, you had to get like this. I mean, this is very tricky stuff. And Levon ultimately succumbs to the pressure. Now, Hans Niemann is looking to, get another scalp, get another huge victory. He already beat a world champion. He might as well beat his challenger as well. And tomorrow he is playing Jan Nepomniachtchi, so, he really might just beat everybody who has recently played for a world championship. We had a super complicated English in this game. c4, e5, a massive sideline from Fabiano. I'm not sure he's ever played. Well, he might have played it. I didn't do the research. Sorry. I'm like one of these people who post medical advice on Facebook. Knight d7, b4. And as you can see from white's position, white has a lot of space, but black is sort of instigating. Black's like, oh, yeah, you got space? Yeah, you got space? Yeah, you got space. Well, black's, Fabiano's kind of like the guy who's like, oh, you taking a boxing class? Oh, yeah, let's go. Like, oh, what are you gonna, he's trying to throw hands here. This position has been reached before, and I think in every one of those games, black played the move rook e8, and tried to just kind of slow play it. Fabi doesn't take things slow. He takes on d4. He makes things happen right now, and puts his knight on e5. Right, the white position is sort of kind of being questioned here a little bit, like on the queen side, there's vision on all of white's center, but if you plug the position into the engine, actually, computer much prefers it. Now here's how white should proceed. Which rook is white going to move? You guys ever struggle with that? Write that in the comments. All right, it's my engagement farming right here. Who has struggled with which rook to put on which square? It's honestly, it's as confusing as which sock goes on which foot, right? Do I shower or do I not? It's just one of these things, you could shower, you couldn't shower. I don't know. I just assume that's what chess players have to debate. So rook ad1 is the move that Hans chooses, which is a weird move. I gotta tell you, I mean, rook fd1 to my eye looks just so natural, but listen, he's playing the tournament for a reason. I'm commentating his games for a reason, right? Like, giving up the A file, I just don't get it. But whatever, right? F4. Now Hans just begins, firing pieces off this way. Fabi strikes back on the queen side with the move c5. Hans is not to be deterred, bro. He plays g4. What is he doing? All of my alarms are sounding here. You move your king over there, and then you move your pawns. And the craziest thing is, then Hans just doesn't do anything. He just kind of chills. the gaping hole in the center of the board, the e4 square. Fabiano parks the knight there. He's got unlimited parking for 30 days. Let's go. Actually, the knight wants to leave and fork the white pieces, but there is bishop c3 hitting the queen back. Knight takes f1, hits the white king with check. And what ultimately happens is Hans is just on the defensive, but he does get a pawn. So it's a bishop and a pawn for a rook. Now, that's a difference of just 1 point, but it's really not, it's not that. It's far worse. Like, Fabiano continues to move forward. You notice that Fabi has not moved 3 of his 4 pawns. Hans has moved all his pawns, and he's moved them really far. Really far. And there's a lot of really unpleasant threats here. For instance, black can play the move bishop c6. And you would think the move knight takes c6, right? It's very simple. No, knight f3, king h1, rook h2 is checkmate. It's called Arabian mate, all right? Very, very unpleasant stuff here. But to his credit, Hans fought. Oh my God, he did not let Fabiano just win this game. He went full lev on here. Queen c3. And yeah, here Fabi plays an absolutely savage move, but not the best one. But he plays a savage move. The best one is for black to sort of play a vague queen move and just sort of pressure the white position. There's not too many threats here. But Fabiano could not resist here, and he played queen takes d4. Now, that move hangs a queen 3 different ways. But no, Fabiano Caruana is not trying to give a game to guess the elo. You found ways to hang a queen 3 different ways. You have definitely taken something that was defended 3 different times. But in this case, if white plays the move queen takes queen, bishop takes queen, or pawn takes queen, all of those moves result in knight f3. So it was a remove the defender tactic, defending the f3 square, and no matter what takes, in fact, the best move you have to take with the queen, because the queen will be defended on that square. Otherwise, white will lose a completely free queen. So, all right, we have this position. Now, I think Stockfish would never lose here with white to a human, because if the human was playing with the black pieces, because I feel like Stockfish would find a way to swap pawns, and, you know, bishop and pawn versus a rook is a draw, just so you understand. Like, there's just no way to break that barrier. White's king will run around the board. The only way that Fabiano is going to win this game is if he prevents Hans from consolidating everything and trading the important things of the position. Now, Hans begins to try to create a fortress, right? Fabiano puts his pieces on all the right squares and throws the move h5 forward. Now, Fabi actually lost the fortress, apparently. If Hans just plays e4 and ignores everything, even allowing this is not so bad. This looks very scary, but it's really hard for black to get all of this. Because you got king e3, but you also have c5. And if something like this, and here, I mean, who is actually threatening to win what endgame? I mean, c7, bishop e6. Seriously, who is threatening to win what? All right, she says she gonna do what to who? What is the lyric? That's not a. What's the lyric, wife? What's the lyric? She says she gonna do what to who? That's not a reliable source. Let me grab my weave up. Sorry. Wait, am I gonna get copyrighted for quoting Cardi B? I thought you liked Cardi. Anyway, so basically that's what's happening in that game. You got a Cardi B reference. That's, you know, that's the stuff you get 28 minutes or whatever into a Gotham recap. Anyway, Hans here plays a move I, for the love of God, just do not understand. I get you are worried. I get it. I get that you are concerned about, you know, something like this and this being a weakness, or this and this being a weakness. But to my untrained eye, doesn't this create far more weaknesses? I guess it's a tough endgame, right? Like, I would just love to know, like, what was the plan, right? Because Fabian, I guess the plan was to take and pray, but, I mean, slowly, the defenses are going to just fall apart because you've split your pawns and you've removed the bishop from the board, right? So here comes c5, and it looks like there is a fortress. It really looks like it, but Fabi's going to keep asking questions. He's going to keep asking, all right? He's going to keep asking, and there goes one pawn. And since you left your pawns real weak, all right, since you left them real weak, you're going to try to get rid of them. But black's like, no, you're going to keep these pawns, bozo. Yeah, how does that feel? Now I got the rook versus bishop. And the worst part about this position is the king is completely cut off. Completely cut off, and it just doesn't matter anymore. It does. White's not playing with the king. And black's king is just going to go here, 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 here. And rather than prolonging any of that, yeah, Hans just tries to play it a little bit faster and just ends the game here. The game is over because the threat is to take and promote. And there's actually no real way to stop that from happening. So, for example, if the move king b4 happens, then rook f5, ef5, here, 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 but neither pawn advancing will actually do anything. For example, let's say f7, king f7, h7, king g7. There's nothing. So Fabiano Caruana defeats Hans Niemann, and we have one more round to go of one of the most exciting and dramatic and idiotic chess tournaments that we have ever seen. So we still have not progressed much on the front of clarifications from the party that started this entire thing, but maybe we will get there. The world may never know. I will see you all tomorrow. Get out of here.